Welcome back to Football Talks, everybody. I'm Adam. Get into our live comment section. If you are live with us right now, drop into the comments afterwards. Make your points on all of these subjects we're talking about. I want to start with the news that Thomas Tuchel is actually getting bored with the England job. In fact, this will interest all Manchester United fans. He is looking, according to some reports, at the Manchester United job after the World Cup this summer. He is not built for international football, is what's being said. We're going to talk about that, obviously, in detail now, so get your comments in on that in the live section. And, of course, we are going to be talking about the other news as well floating around. Ivan Toney to the Premier League. United might be interested in him. Chelsea, Spurs also looking at him. Ange Postecoglou. This news is always going to be around, looking at a potential exit from Nottingham Forest already. Is it pure panic that Nottingham Forest could be looking at their third manager only 2 months into the season? Is this what an owner who has got too much of a say in what happens on the pitch brings you at a football club? Forest fans, obviously, get your comments in on that one as well. But again, looking at everything, looking at Manchester United and their stance with Thomas Tuchel, that rumour was there before, Tuchel being bored with England. I mean, come on. Bored with England? You're only a few games in. Don't get me wrong. I actually enjoyed watching England the other night. I actually enjoyed the game. Good performance. Good players. England should be going out trying to win the World Cup. And what happens past that? Look, if I'm a club manager, let's just say, and I drop into international football, I think I'd be twiddling my thumbs and wondering what to do every single day. There's only so many games of football you can go and watch, and it seems like a privileged job, doesn't it? And everyone says that the England job is the most high-pressure job in football. Nothing compares with it. Yeah, when the tournaments come around, you could say that, but let's be honest. International football, you're not doing much else but watching football, and you've got a 2-week period, 3 times in the first half of the season where you get to get together with the squad. Then you've got one in the spring. That's changing actually next season, by the way, which is crazy. We're going to have a big international break at the start of next season. I don't agree with that, to be honest. I think that's going to be painful for most fans. But I can see how you would struggle at international level. And Thomas Tuchel thinking about club football and his next move already. Is that a worry for England? Is his focus not actually on the job? Look, I don't mind the way that Thomas Tuchel is dealing with things. I heard a good piece on the radio the other day about how he's handling Jude Bellingham and the situation there. England and Tuchel's stance on this has always been, you need to be able to play if your big players aren't available. And he said this the other day. What do we do? Do we just stop and not play if Jude Bellingham's not available? If Cole Palmer's not available? If Harry Kane's not available? Do we just stop playing? No, you've got to find a way around it. And Morgan Rogers coming in, and people like Elliot Anderson stepping in to the team have done well for England. And so what? I haven't got a problem with these bigger players being put in their place by Thomas Tuchel. And he is coming across as a club manager right now. It's no nonsense. I'm here to do a job and I'm going to win the World Cup. That's what he's saying. But he is approaching this like a club manager would. And I could see why Thomas Tuchel actually might not be completely comfortable with doing the England job right now. I don't think it is enough, for him. And going from the day-to-day and having to be in and around the club constantly, these managers get so used to that. I think this is just, for Tuchel, I think completely different and something completely new for him. So, yeah, that's how I see this whole situation and where the stories come from. But again, we all know anyway, after the World Cup, he's gone. So it is going to be interesting to see where Thomas Tuchel goes, who might actually be looking for a manager at that point. And I think the papers have actually used that and put the Ruben Amorim situation in at Manchester United into focus. Could you imagine Thomas Tuchel wins the World Cup and then ends up being Manchester United manager, or whoever's going to take him? It would be, his stock would be insanely high, wouldn't it, by that point? But I think he is. I think he's the right type of manager for England right now. The no-nonsense approach, I'm loving it. I think it's great. I think he's having a go at the fans. Wembley is boring. It is, and the stadium is dead in games like that. And he's made a great point there, and everyone should be really happy about it, that England's home games should be going around the country. Other parts of the country should be able to see England play. It should be at Old Trafford. It should be at Newcastle. should be at Liverpool, Birmingham. It should be all over the place, England games. And I think it's important to remember that as well, because him moaning about the actual atmosphere, it does get boring watching internationals. And again, he's not used to it. And I think the reports have just put all of this together and made a story out of it with Thomas Tuchel. But I do think he will be moving back to the Premier League. Once he finishes his stint with England, after this summer's World Cup is over, I think Thomas Tuchel comes back to the Prem. Who would be open? I mean, you go through it. What teams? Get into the comment section, actually. Who do you think would need a manager at the end of the season? And I'm not just teeing up Man United with this here either, but there is a big, big possibility that United might not have Ruben Amorim, because we know if we don't get European football at United, then there's going to be a managerial change. I'm not listening to what Sir Jim Radcliffe said the other day and saying that he needs to prove himself as a great coach over 3 years. Look, he'll be more than halfway through that 3 years by the end of the season. And I think a decision will be made anyway. And then you start to look at all of the other clubs that you might be looking at, right? Who might be looking for a new manager? For instance, Newcastle are safe with Eddie Howe, surely. Liverpool, do they want another German in there? I think Slot's pretty safe, although it's not looking great at the moment. Arsenal with Arteta, if he doesn't win anything this year, do they go for the trophy-winning manager in Tuchel? Does Pep stay at Manchester City another season? Has Tuchel come in there? Look, there's plenty there, but the obvious ones are obviously the likes of, I think, Manchester United. Potentially, you could look at the Nottingham Forest situation right now, but I don't see Thomas Tuchel going there. He's made for a big club and a club that's expected to win trophies. That's why England brought him in, and that's what England have asked him to do, and giving him the short contract. It's unheard of, the length of contract that Tuchel's had, but I was all for this straight away, the fact that we brought someone in who's just going to get us through a tournament, because that's all that matters. I don't think international managers should be getting long periods of time in the job. Move on. Change it up. And I think it's right that Tuchel is being used this way by England. And I think he's happy with that. It just lets everybody know exactly where they stand. They know exactly what he's going to do. They know exactly how much time he's got to do it. And if he does or if he doesn't, it's over after that period. Bang. No drama. No nonsense. Job done. Simple as. And that, I think, is exactly the right way to approach international football. Because who wants to be in a job where you're doing nothing for large periods of the season? Yeah, that's how I see it. Let's get some comments in on this anyway, quickly for the start. England look better without Jude. No more individual brilliance and team performance. Declan Rice, Elliot Anderson, Eza look so fluid in midfield together. Not Eza. I don't think Eza will feature in that England side as a starter. I think it will be like what we had. I think it'll be Kane as the striker. I'm hoping it's going to be Saka, Kane and Gordon. Then Rice and Elliot Anderson. I think you can't move Anderson out of there. I think he's brilliant. And then you're deciding on the 10. You've got Grealish, you've got Cole Palmer. You could play Jude Bellingham there as well. You've got loads of options there, like going in. And it's a privileged position. I think the front three, I like Saka, I like Gordon, I like Kane. That's formidable. Now, you could add Rashford on one side if he's playing well. There's other players that you could bring in there. Eza could go on one side also. And who else could you put out wide? There's plenty of options there, isn't there? But I think Gordon, the pace of Gordon, the pace of Saka, the quality of them two players and what they do delivery-wise with Harry Kane in the mix, that's deadly. That would be my go-to front three. The 10 is up for debate. I think Jude would actually play better in a 10. But then again, I would play Cole Palmer. And I would bench Jude Bellingham. I don't think he's been playing great anyway. I really don't. So I would play Cole Palmer, Harry Kane, Saka, Gordon. That is electric. And you've got Rice and Elliot Anderson behind them two. And the only worry I've got with England is the defence. Because it's just like Gehi, I think, has to be a starter. And then it's anything else then. Anything else to go alongside Gehi. And you're taking your pick then out of all the fullbacks that we've got. But that front, let's just call it front six, or midfield six and front four, them there, Midfield 2, front 4, 6 altogether. I mean, that there should be. And Tuchel, I think, will get the most out of them players. I would bench Bellingham. Take him, bench him. Cole Palmer's better in that 10 for me. I mean, to get your comments in quickly on that, I was talking more about the managerial side of things, but it's just opened up a debate in there. Would you put Jude Bellingham at 10 or Cole Palmer at 10? I'm sorry, it's got to be Cole Palmer, hasn't it? Adam, you're so obsessed with Tuchel. He's finished as a club football manager. No, he's not, mate. Seriously. I think you're obsessed with disagreeing with me, to be honest. Violi, is it? Sorry. So, yeah. No, I'm not obsessed with Tuchel at all. I'm actually talking about the England manager. He's in focus at the moment. It's international break, mate. Come on. Adam, so Jim said he would like to give Ruben 3 years. That's a whole lot different to going. That's a whole lot different to going to give. Well, he would like to over giving him. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Jeffrey, on that one there. I think in terms of the manager, look, it's always results. That's it. And this is what Tuchel's been brought in for England. Quick fire, bunch of games, including the World Cup. Go. There you go. That's it. Ginge said he would play Bellingham there. Bellingham over Palmer. Cole all day, says Ian. Look, it's got to be, hasn't it? Palmer, definitely. It has to be Cole Palmer in there. I just think he's technically just on a different level to everyone. I understand the strength. I understand what Bellingham brings. And I'm not ignoring how quality this guy is and how much quality he's got. But I think Tuchel's the right man. And again, it just proves to me that he is set up, ready to go to another Premier League club as soon as this World Cup is over. And he will be back in the Premier League. Right. If only we had Tuchel at United over Amorim, it wouldn't have been so bad, this bad, Ian. And look, it could be. It could be. Tuchel didn't fail at Bayern, by the way, mate. They wanted him back. You need to do some more research on that one, mate. Sorry. They wanted him back. They offered him another job because he made a mistake. And so that tells you everything. And yeah, he did win trophies at Bayern Munich as well. He's actually won trophies in every single job he's been at. Near enough. So that's what we have to look at. There you go. Ezra has to start at 10. Glock, see you later, mate. No, that's not happening. Bellingham and Palmer was terrible last season for Madrid and Chelsea. Really? Yeah, you need to watch more football, mate. More football, please. Right, moving on. Nottingham Forest. Do we think that Nottingham Forest are about to make their third appointment of the season? There is a story going around, managerial appointment. There's a story going around this morning that there is talks going on right now with Ange and Mazarakis at Nottingham Forest over the potential, departure of Ange Postecoglou. I just hope he's staying there long enough to get to that Man United game. I really do. I fear a new manager bounce at the City Ground for Manchester United is all I'm saying. But Sean Dyche has been mentioned as a potential replacement for Ange Postecoglou. You're going from one extreme to the other here, aren't you? Completely. You've gone from the defensive mastermind of Nuno Espirito Santo, the perfect counter-attacking manager, to don't know what Ange is, actually. It's remember that phrase that Jurgen Klopp came out with, heavy metal football? Highline madness, let's just call it. That's Ange Postecoglou. Highline madness. But this is panic for me. This is pure panic buying. Not buying, panic decision-making, let's just say. Because Ange Postecoglou was on a hiding to nothing coming in at Nottingham Forest. He's got a team there that is built for counter-attacking, defensive, solid backline football, low block. They're set up perfectly for it with the players that they've got. They've got the fast forwards. They've got the target man in the middle. It's out wide, long diagonal across the pitch. Move as quickly as you can once you win the ball back and hit them on the break. That's what Nuno's football is. And Forest had a perfect team for that. And because he's had a fallout with the owner, they've got rid of him. There's no football reasons for getting rid of Nuno Espirito Santo. It was down to the fallout inside that football club. And Sean Dyche coming in, I'm not slagging Sean Dyche off or anything, but you've just gone for a B-Tech Nuno. And that's all that is, isn't it? Like, no, I can't see it. And I would give Ange till Christmas. I know you're on the brink of the relegation zone, and it's tough, isn't it? Because you haven't won in 7. But you cannot expect a manager to come in, having had no transfer window, and deal with a bunch of players that don't play his way. Like, Mazarakis needs to get a grip and have a look at this situation here. You could always say, yeah, you'd expect some form of results to come in, and you can't allow managers this much room because they are adapting. There does need to be results. They do need to find a way. But I still feel like it is a bit harsh on Ange to be thinking about getting rid of him after 7 games. And look, owners have to make certain decisions. Owners have to make calls. They have to be brutal. And I get that, world. But, again, this is Ange's career, I think, down the pan. He's done in the Premier League after this. He's never going to come back again. No chance. After failing miserably twice, if even saying that, he won a trophy last season. But if he fails twice, then that's it, isn't it? He doesn't come back again. I think that's clear. I think he came back too soon, is my opinion on this. I really do think that he has come back too soon into football, into the Premier League, and he should have taken a little bit more time off and waited for a better job to come around. Forest is not the right job for Ange, not after the timing of Nuno's sacking after the window had closed. It just didn't suit. So, yeah, for me, I don't think Ange should be moved on. I really don't. I think he should be given till Christmas and then the decision made. I think he will get something right eventually there. Something will click. But at the moment, I think it's just panic from Nottingham Forest, and that's how it's coming across. Sean Dyche is an underrated manager. He is far better than Postecoglou. Dyche is a good motivator and will make Forest hard to beat. I'd take him over Ange. He is not good enough at this level. United focus. Yeah, I mean, should that decision have been made before Ange came in? This is what we're saying. It's now panicking me that you've made the wrong call. What made Mazarakis pick Ange Postecoglou? That's the question I would be asking. Why did you go for Ange? What made you think that this team was the team that he would get the most out of, the players at Nottingham Forest? What made you think that Ange Postecoglou was the right manager going off his season last season for Spurs? Looking at what Thomas Frank has done with the majority of the same players already this season and what Ange got last season, why would you pick Ange Postecoglou? It makes no sense whatsoever that Mazarakis went for Postecoglou. He wasn't the right fit. And now I think he's realising now that he's made a massive mistake in putting him in place, and now he's coming back on it, and I think this is why all these stories are coming around. I don't think Ange will see out the year. I think he needs to be given the time until Christmas at least, and then a decision made, but by then Forest could be in the relegation zone, and we know what Mazarakis is like. This is a crazy, crazy owner again who is just going to make whatever call he thinks is right. And he's going to keep on making them calls until he gets the right man. He had the right man there in Nuno. He did. But Nuno called him out. And, that's the end of the line when that happens anyway. Ange got the better team of Amorim 3 times last season. Got the better of Amorim 3 times last season. 4, mate. Could he do it again? I hope not, but worried about that game. I'd be more worried as a United fan with Ange not being there and the new manager bounce kicking in for that game at the City Ground in a few weeks. That's where I am anyway. Why is Harry Maguire incapable of reading the room at United and accept a well-compensated move to Saudi Arabia? That was another story going around this morning. Another one as well is on Ivan Toney. That one is really hotting up. Ivan Toney coming back to the Premier League. Manchester United would be interested in Ivan Toney if they moved on Joshua Zirkzee. That is a story that is going around as well this morning. And also, Chelsea and Tottenham looking at Ivan Toney. When you look at the options that Chelsea have got, like João Pedro, obviously Liam Delap's out for a substantial amount of time, but he'll be back. Do they need another striker? Then you're looking at Spurs. Yeah, that would be a good fit. Old manager, Thomas Frank. Spurs need a new striker. I think it makes sense for that. Manchester United, though, right now looking at that, Benjamin Sesko in there, would that upset the momentum that he's starting to build at United? Not many games to sort of rotate, you could say. Like, I'm all for having squad depth, but I can't see Toney turning up at Man United. Not right now. We're struggling to get other players on the pitch. If you're talking about Xerxes leaving and Toney coming in, then you're talking there like, how would Toney get in if Xerxes wasn't? I know he's a better striker, but he'd just be sat on the bench again. There's not enough games. Don't get me wrong, like, if you're Spurs, you've got your Champions League, you've got the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup coming up, challenging top four, things like that. If you're playing in 2 or 3 different competitions, 4 competitions, then I could see why you would go and get an extra striker in for squad depth. But Manchester United just don't have the room at the moment for another striker, I don't think. In fact, Manchester United fans actually get back in. Would you take Toney over Xerxes? If you know that Toney is probably going to only be sat on the bench again because Sesko is playing. Let me know. Is there any other teams that fancy Ivan Toney? Would you take him? It's a loan deal, by the way, so it's not going to cost much. Quick fix. Why can't we find that type of midfielder as a quick fix, is what I would say as a Man United fan right now. Got his payday, and now it's time to move back. A good move for United. Take Toney straight in. Let's see what else we've got here. Ivan Toney, he's way past his years. Should just retire already. No, he's not, and it's a low move. So, again, definitely disagree with that one. Ivan Toney, I think, will do a job in the Premier League right now. Ivan Toney, yes, I'd be all over that move. A proven striker in this league. Who would you play? If Toney came in, would you play Sesko or would you play Toney, United fans? Talk to me on that one. Interesting. What do Ange and Amorim have in common? Won titles at inferior leagues, but struggle in the Premier League. Yep. It's straightforward, yeah. I agree. And I think time will tell with both of them this season. We are definitely looking at a scenario where both of their managers are going to be out of work, I feel. Well, Amorim, well, we know what's happening with him. We know what he's got to do, and we know where he needs to take Manchester United. It's European football or you lose your job. And with Mazarakis, I don't even think, honestly, right now, it matters. I just feel like the job is done anyway for him. With Mazarakis as an owner, you just don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going to happen. So, again, yeah, I'm just not seeing it at all. Sesko every day, says Ginge. Yep, Sesko. Everyone would pick Sesko, it would seem, as Man United's striker, even if Ivan Toney came in. I think that's right. I do think that's right. And I think that's where it's going to end up anyway. So, no, I would say for Toney right now, United need a midfielder. We don't need another striker. I would keep Xerxes if we could, but I do feel like he's going to end up leaving Man United because he needs game time. World Cup is coming. Yes, we thought that having less games at United would benefit us. It's turning out to be the opposite. That's why we're looking at them Saudi Pro League teams and that potential mini tournaments over in Saudi to make some money, mate. That's where United are at right now. And sad state of affairs. Look, the international break doesn't bring us much to talk about. It is all built around the England setup and all of the internationals. We're just hoping that all of our players come back and are fit and raring to go. And when you look at everything that's happening, when you look at everything going on around the internationals at the moment, there's a few injury scares. I'm looking at Kylian Mbappe has been one who has gone down. I think Enzo Enzo Fernandez for Chelsea, went down the other day as well. There's a few, and your heart's in your mouth. I hate this. I hate this time of the year. I hate international weeks because not only is the football horrible to watch, but you know that it's going to affect your season. And for United, for instance, like going into the last international break, we knew it was City away coming up. This international break, it's Liverpool away coming up. We're never fully prepared, and it's just an annoyance. It really is. It gets in the way of absolutely everything, the international break. And this one, these three all close together. By the way, everybody, I mentioned this earlier on. Would you be in favour of the new international break format for next season? For anybody who doesn't know what it actually is, there is 3 breaks now. So we have one in September, one in October, and one in November. Pain in the ass. It's just stop-start all the time. Next season, the plan is to merge the October and September international break into one and play 4 games. So that could be literally 3 weeks off from Premier League football. 3 weeks, but 4 international games played. So instead of having 3 2-week breaks, they're compressing 2 into 5 weeks, basically. So you're going to have what we've got now, 3 2-week breaks, so 6 weeks of internationals. Next season, it's going to be 5 weeks of internationals as such. Are you in favour of cramming 2 international breaks together so you've got 1? And there is a big gap at the start of the season. So effectively, when the transfer window ends, it's September 1st, international break. That's going to move to the 21st of September now. So you will get a good 6 to 7 week start to the season without internationals. Would you go for that? Is that better than having 3 2-week breaks through internationals? Get into the comment section and let me know, everybody. Ivan Toney ahead of Sesko initially for me, but we need a midfielder as a matter of urgency. But by the time we get to January, we will be desperate and most likely panic again. Let's just see. Jeffrey says definitely Sesko, but strange how last season we were all saying United should have bought experienced striker, not Rasmus. That's it. I think Sesko has impressed over the last couple of games, and it is working. So I think that's where United are probably going to persevere. Like, I don't think we're going to be in the market for Ivan Toney. Definitely not. I don't see that happening at all. Tomo says, absolutely sick of international breaks. I just seem to get more drunk due to the boredom. Would everybody be in favour of the new international break? Just give me a yes or a no. So instead of going on to international break on September 1st, it's now 21st of September. So you get a good stint. It's now about 6 to 7 weeks worth of football at the start of the season with no break. And then you have 3 weeks off, cramming in October's and September's international. So 4 international games in that period. And then we don't then have another international break till the 2-week break in November. But that's it. It's now 2 international breaks and not 3. I don't know what's better at the moment. Having to deal with 3 weeks worth of internationals scares me. It does. But I like the start of the season factor kicking in there as well. I like the fact that we've got a big chunk of games and a good period to start the season off. But I think 3 weeks of internationals scares everybody, doesn't it? Not in favour of stopping the Premier League, in favour of internationals at all. No friendlies and less games. Get rid of that stupid European Conference internationals. Andrew hates it. Think difference. How has 2 top quality 10 behind him? Right, okay, someone talking to somebody else in the chat there. See, Sesko is experienced. Yes, he is. He is experienced. Glock, no one listens to you when you talk garbage, mate. And like I proved the other day, Gyökeres has been a bigger flop than Sesko this season. So I'm going to keep on driving that back home when you come up with stupid comments, mate. Africa qualifications are unbelievable and great fun, says Barbary. Yeah. It looks like them games have actually been exciting to watch. I'm glad because the African internationals actually get them done quickly as well. The dawn, bang, finished. It's like they're the first ones to play the games. Like Brian Mbumo already looking into his second game already. So, yeah, I like the way that the African nations get their games out of the way quickly. And they do look like there is always drama in them as well. So, yeah, a lot more fun to watch. Right, everybody, that is our show this morning. You're completely up to date with all of the transfer and the paper garbage which is going on right now. Get your comments in below on the managerial situation. Let me know what you're thinking on the Ange one, the Tuchel one. Who is he coming back to in the Premier League? And does Ivan Toney deserve a second chance in the Premier League? They're your 3 topics. Get into the comment section. Let me know. Pop a like on this video, everybody. And make sure that you do hit that subscribe button as well. And I'll see you all later on. Have a good Sunday, everyone.